Monica Bellizoiu is the Chief Executive of the Romanian Secular Humanist Association, or ASUR for short. A dedicated humanist, Monica has a background in communication, specializing in public relations for NGOs and CSR for companies based in Romania. She's played a pivotal role in promoting the humanism and secular movements and values within Romania. So, Monica, thank you very much for joining us on Humanism Now.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation.
My pleasure. So, look, I'd love to find out more about your current campaigns, and in particular, I know there's a very exciting tech project which you've been working on and rolling out in Romania. But before we dive into that, I think it'd be great for our audience to understand a little bit more about your personal journey. So could you share a bit more about your background and how you came to take on this role with the ASUR and why you chose to embrace humanist values?
Sure. I think it had a lot to do with the timing, because I'm in my 40s now, and I started working with the NGO. In Romania, we call it ASUR, which is the same. But I first heard about it because I was following a lot of atheists online, the Four Horsemen and so on, at the time when ASUR was being launched. So I heard through some friends and on social media about their conferences where they were about to launch the NGO, and I just went there to see what it's all about, and I really liked the people, and I started volunteering. Then, since I was working as a PR consultant, I started to do some public relation consultancy, and at some point somebody started telling us that the association seems like it is bigger than it was in reality. So the president at that time said probably you should do something more. So he appointed me executive director at that time, and I started working first part-time and then full-time in this position. But it was a gradual move. So I got a feeling that I've been doing this since forever, even if my master's was in business communication, but I had to adapt my knowledge to NGO communication and to start to understand how I can use all that I learned in school and all my experience in my private life to make the best of it and to help the organization and the humanism movement in Romania.
Yeah, and I think there's a wonderful lesson in there. I think we often have members join who feel that perhaps their educational or professional experience isn't relevant, but actually whatever skills you pick up can be adapted, and there's always a need to bring those. So, no, thank you very much for sharing. And how would you describe the religious culture in Romania, and what have been the main challenges when advocating for humanistic values?
Oh, I think it's a common known fact that Romania is probably the most religious country in Europe and one of the most religious in the world, in the Northern Hemisphere. But I think the one of the problems that we have faced was the fact that humanism in Romania, or humanism as it's called here, is not a widely known term. So people don't really know what to make of us. At least in the beginning, they didn't know what to make of us. And also, if you were saying, oh, you're atheist or something, that was also a no-no, because we lived so many years under a communist dictatorship, and people often associated atheists with communists. So it was badly sounding. So the work on was first to get people to understand better what humanism means, and then to see that even if we used to be the only voice that was saying something against the collaboration between state and church, it wasn't because we were wrong. So when you are the only one criticizing something, people usually tend to say this is something wrong. You are doing this because you want to gain attention or something, but you are in the wrong. So it took a lot of time for things to start to change. And I remember when I went to the launch conference for ASUR, for our NGO, there was in the audience, the only journalist in Romania that at that time, she was the only one that was writing articles about what the Orthodox Church is doing with the money that it receives from the Romanian state. No one else had the courage to write about it. And now they are young journalists, investigative journalists that are tackling the subject, and there are many more voices that are criticizing the fact that de facto Romania is not actually a secular state, even if we do not have a state religion. The influence of the Orthodox Church in politics and in society is so big that it feels like we do have a state religion.
Yeah, and I can understand the benefits of having a communications specialist at the forefront of the movement, if this really is about changing the perceptions. And speaking of which, I know you recently contributed to the Freedom of Thought report, and published an article on that, which we can link to in the show notes. So I wondered, what did you discover in undertaking that research, and why is it important to you to contribute to the Freedom of Thought report with Humanist International?
Actually, I started contributing to the report a few years back when Bob Churchill was in charge of it. I hope I'm not mispronouncing the name or something. But in the beginning, I was intrigued because I started to comparing Romania with other countries and to see where on the scale are us in regards to the freedoms and to some point, it feels like, oh, this is not that bad. We do not have a blasphemy law. We have many more rights than others. But if you go beneath the surface and you scratch it a little bit, you see that we still have religion in school, that it's taught. Actually, it's more like a dogmatic religion, and it's really hard to get out of it. And it's for 12 years, you learn one class each week, so it's a lot of religion, especially Orthodox, because most of the schools only have teachers for that. And also it's really hard to discuss on some of the issues that humanists are trying to put forward. And from time to time, they are starting to resurrect some movement. Like now, it's the anti-abortion movement that has started to gain track again, even if Romania has a very dark history with this, because abortion was prohibited for many years, and there have been so many documentaries about the women that have died and the orphanages that were found after the fall of communism. Orphanages filled with children that were a result of abortion ban. So in the mind of many people, this is still a recent memory. So the movement is not that popular, but still is there. And there are people trying to ban it again. And also the rights of LGBT people have been put under question in the last year, and this is something that we wrote in the report. But I think the main problem here in Romania is the involvement of churches in the state politics. So this year we're going to have all kinds of elections. We're going to have European election, local election, parliamentarian, and presidential. We didn't have this kind of year for. I don't think it happened since I started voting. I don't think it happened anytime. It never happened. So. This will be interesting because you can see a lot of voices from the representatives of churches and of different cults that are starting to discuss with politicians that are going to be candidates in one way or another. So I recently went to Brussels and I was invited to a high-level meeting about a consultation with philosophical and non-religious organization, and I talked about the hate speech that is being promoted by some of the religious leaders that are in contact with politicians, and the fact that religious leaders are supporting extremist parties, it's really worrying. And I think it's not something that is happening just in Romania. I can see this happening in a lot of countries also, and I think it's something you should pay attention to, because we are not the only country that is going to have elections this year. So, yeah.
No, but it's very important to flag that. Yes, and you're right. It does seem to be a common theme globally at the moment, aligning politics with religion. So yeah, no, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate at the moment, and I know that you're also promoting scientific understanding and scientific literacy and critical thinking throughout Romania. And in doing so, you will be launching the Science Calendar app. So would love to hear more about that. How did the idea to create a science-specific app come about?
Actually, it started with the science calendar, which is it was one of our first projects, and it's currently our most popular project. We did this calendar as a response to the Orthodox calendar that was in our grandmother's kitchens on the wall. So we, as a joke, my husband started saying, why don't we put, my husband, he's also a member in the organization. So at that time, we were just spinning ideas around and to see what sticks. And he said, why don't we find something to replace this Orthodox calendar in the kitchen, something that will be interesting for more people? And we started joking and kidding around, and we decided to come with the idea of the calendar, which has 365 real information about the scientists that have changed our world and the discoveries that have changed our way of life. So we raised information about this. We gathered all the information. We had some scientists that helped us to verify the accuracy of what we are putting down, and we printed a few thousand calendars and give them for free to schools. And this was back in 2010, and we have been doing this every year since then.
And what has the reception been from
the reception has been extraordinary, because at the first edition we only managed to do 3,000 copies, but at the second edition someone from National Geographic Romania, from the magazine, said this is a wonderful project, and they decided to join in, and they gave the calendar with their winter edition as a present for the people that were buying the magazine. And from there it just flew up, because now we are financing every year the calendar to crowdfunding. And some of the people that are contributing to the crowdfunding campaign, that helps us to get the money to print the calendar and to send it to schools around the country. Some of the people said, okay, I understand that in some schools they need it on the wall and they can consult it and so on, but maybe you can find something more helpful for us, for that we are staying at the offices all day, so maybe an app. And we have joked around it and discussed the idea for some years now, until one of my colleagues, she just finished the university this year, and she said that her paper at the end was to make an app. This was something interesting for us. And she said, I feel confident enough that I can do an app for the calendar. So that was the point. We have been thinking about it for a few years now. We have been talking out with some humanists from other countries where they have replicated the calendar. For example, they have done different versions in Scotland, in Poland, and in Spain. Actually, the one in Spain, we are a bit envious because they even received a prize from a national science agency from Spain for project that promotes scientific knowledge. So This is huge.
It's a wonderful initiative. No, congratulations. And it's great to see it spreading around the world as well. So can we talk through some of the key features and also how you envisage the app promoting scientific literacy, both in Romania and globally?
So at the moment, the app is available in Romanian and in English, and it basically offers you a notification every day with an information from science. So, for example, 3 days ago was Darwin Day, so you get a notification that Darwin was born on this day and in this year. And the plan is for you to know something about, and maybe if the information is interesting enough for you to maybe research it some more and to see some connection. But you can also use it as a start of a conversation if you go to a discussion or something. And the teachers are using this to somehow in their science classes to engage children and students to collaborate and to communicate more about science. This is a way that they use the calendar that we had printed, but also now they are using the app in the same manner. Our goal will be to also in the first stage to develop the content and to write more on every day, because now the information is the same as in the printed version, where you don't have enough space, but we will work on developing the content. And also we hope if there's interest from other organizations to translate the content, we can provide the English version and they can translate it in another language and we can upload it in the app and to make an update on it.
It's a fantastic initiative. I wonder, have you received any backlash or any objections to rolling out both of the calendars and now with the digital version?
With the printed calendar, yes, because people saw it as offensive in the beginning, but a lot of other people liked the ideas. But now with the latest edition, the 2024 edition, the similarities with the Orthodox calendars are not there anymore, because this edition was as the design was as a comic book strip. So
Okay.
it's very, very different from anything else. But with the app, we didn't receive any backlash. We only received feedback on improving the content and on improving the settings or anything. But people were, even during testing period, they're really excited. And when we made a call online for people who wanted to test the app before publishing it, everybody was really interesting. And we even had testers from Malta, from Norway, that were really, and from South Africa, because I posted this on a humanist group, and a lot of humanists were interested in finding out what it is.
Fantastic. So I wonder, with the success of the calendar app, what role do you see digital tools and social media playing in the future of humanist advocacy and education? I'm
not sure here, because on the one side, for us, social media it has been a blessing, for a lack of a better word, because of when you are an NGO with a very small budget, you try to make the best of it and to try to find the best ways to promote your projects and your actions. But since last year, I think the impact of social media, it's slower and has diminished a lot, and we are trying to find different ways of promoting this, because I still think that it helps a lot with building communities and with amplifying voices that are discussing humanism and secularism, and for us it has to do a lot with increasing accessibility for a lot of the projects. But we are trying different ways. We are trying to see if through our newsletter we can gather more people to the website. We have 2 years ago, we have started to grow our Instagram account, because until then, most of our communication was done via Facebook. Twitter is not that big in Romania, or X as it's called now. And we hope to convince our younger members to help us set up a TikTok account, because we do not have one at the moment.
Yeah, we keep getting the same request as well. That's where you got to catch people, get onto TikTok. So we will be posting some of these interview clips on TikTok. You'll be pleased to know. So I guess on that topic, if anybody listening would like to get in touch with you, either to support ASUR or find out more about the science calendar, what is the best way to contact yourself and the group?
I I think they can contact us on Facebook. We answer pretty quickly and our website, which is ASUR, like the acronym, asur.ro. If they wrote to us on social media, and they can even find me on Facebook. I'm reachable by people who are not my friends, and I have the same name. I do not have a pseudonym or something. We answer pretty quickly, and most of us are active all the time because we have very good internet in Romania. This is something that works in our favor, and a lot of people have access to internet. And actually, getting back to the calendar a little bit, in the beginning, we decided to do the printed version because not many schools were connected to internet, and many people had a phone or a tablet or something to access the information. But now there are more and more even young students that are using some device to access information. So I think it was for us a good time to launch the app for the calendar.
Yes, definitely. I think it's very positive. There's no point fighting the fact that younger and more people are going to have access to mobile devices. It's just about creating ethical tech and tech that is beneficial to society. That's going to be the driving force. So thank you for everything that you've done. And everything you are doing with ASUR. I think it's with the app and the calendars. There's some fantastic initiatives that I think can be replicated globally. Before we go, I would like to ask our standard closing question, which is, what is something which you have changed your mind on recently?
I wanted to make a joke and to say pineapple on pizza, because this is really true. I like pineapple. I like pizza, but I didn't like to mix it. But now I'm starting to change my mind a little bit. But in a serious version, I actually changed my mind about the importance of mental health. And we are working on a project now called Mental Health for Non-Believers in Romania. And since I'm in my 40s, growing up, this was not actually an issue, and you could not openly talk about it. But interacting more and more with people a decade or more younger than me, I see their openness and the fact that they don't see a stigma around it or something like that. And I think there's a need for something like this for humanists, especially when dealing with depression or grieving. Since we don't believe in an afterlife, it's really harder in this moments. But this is something that I changed my mind recently, and with the help of other humanists that I met along the way.
Wonderful, a very important topic, and I have every faith that with the initiative of you and your team, you'll be coming up with some fantastic support groups and initiatives going forward. So, Monica Bellizoiu, thank you so much for joining us on Humanism Now.
Thank you.